Doug Bell. Doug?
Hey, Doug.
What's your schedule?
Hey, Coach
What's your
Barry.
schedule look like here the next month or so?
Well, if you guys want to play some golf, let's go play because I got some time on my hands. Unfortunately, the golf world, like everything, is on hold. And I found out, like everybody, down in Ponte Vedra on last Friday, early in the wee hours of the morning, and came home. So for the time being, there's no golf and there's no Masters, at least for the time being either. So difficult times for all of us.
Jack Nicklaus came on today or yesterday and said that he was fearful that the Masters would be canceled for good.
Yeah, I heard that. It's going to be difficult, Coach. As you know, the Masters, Augusta National, is closed from May to October.
Yeah, the grass is quite different after it gets through. It all goes dormant, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all bent grass. And bent in the heat just doesn't do well. And then they put all that ryegrass on there. That's why it's so that beautiful green color, and the rye doesn't grow either in the summer. So it wouldn't look like anything that we know, Augusta National. And, as Jack said, what you could do, could you replace, a PGA scheduled event when everything got back on track? And that's probably not fair. You could play it. I heard somebody say you could play it after the Tour Championship. That's the last week of August. And, the Masters would have to move things up, and potentially you could play it in September. But then, of course, you have the Ryder Cup in September, so you'd be jamming in the Masters. It would be I think it would be a tough fit. I don't know. When Jack Nicklaus speaks, I agree with him, and he thinks it's going to be difficult. I hope somehow they can get it in, but it's going to be complicated. Let's put it that way.
They played the players, on Thursday. Just talk about the players' reaction when, I don't know if they showed up to the course, kind of like Alabama basketball. They're warming up before they, they're getting in the dressing room. How did this all go down with the players?
Well, Barry, it was weird because everything was shutting down. All the conference basketball tournaments, and of course the NCAA then said, "Hey, we're not going to play all the spring sports." I mean, it was just like every 30 minutes something was happening. And the golf tournament had already teed off on Thursday. I mean, they were out there early in the morning, and the crowds were usual. They were big. They were excited. They were into it, and the scores were good. Hideki Matsuyama went out shot 63. That tied the
9 under
the course record. Yeah, I mean, he played great. So, but then as the day wore on, and all these cancellations, you just kind of felt. At least I felt that it wasn't going to continue. It would be difficult, and they said, hey, the first announcement was, hey, on Friday we're going to continue, but with no crowd. And it was like, okay, that's going to really be weird. But then as the day wore on, you kind of felt like maybe this isn't going to go on. And the players, I think Rory McIlroy and some of the others were in contact with the commissioner, Jay Monahan, and they thought it was probably not the best thing to do to play for the image of golf. I mean, everybody else is shutting down and golf's out there playing. Although the commissioner thought that would be a good respite for the nation. Like, hey, listen, at least there's something to watch, even though there's no crowd. But I think all the powers that be got together and decided it was probably best just to postpone it. And it's not, the PGA Tour guys is a little different because most of these guys they can handle a mid-season layoff of 4, 5, 6 weeks. But the LPGA, these ladies, they don't make nearly as much money as the men, and they have already canceled. They're not playing for 6 weeks. So the majority of the LPGA, if they don't get a paycheck for 6 weeks, it's very difficult on them compared to the men. But regardless, it's bad we have no golf right now. And the city of Austin, Texas, announced today that public golf courses are closed for the foreseeable future. They don't want people, which I hope that doesn't happen across the country.
Yeah, it would seem like golf, Doug, would be one sport you could actually, with no spectators, you're in the open air. Those guys are social distancing. They're not really close to one another. That would be one sport that maybe could continue going on without putting a lot of people at risk. Was that ever brought up that this maybe is one, basketball, you're leaning, bumping bodies. I get all that, but golf, there is a little distance between one another in that situation.
Yeah, Barry, I think that was in the discussion when the players, the second round, they said, hey, we'll go ahead and play the second round with no spectators because we are in open air. The players aren't that close, et cetera. But again, the players just felt that was just a bad thing to do. And most of them were very concerned about their families, and a large number of these guys. I wouldn't say a large number, but a significant number live overseas, and they were flying. They wanted to fly home and get with their families, et cetera. The majority of these guys do live down in South Florida, and that's where they are right now. I know Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler. They played yesterday at their club, the Medalists. And they tweeted out, they played. I think Ricky or Justin, they shot 65 and had a good time playing with each other. So the guys are practicing playing, but like everything else in the world of sports, we're just not going to have golf for a while. The tour is canceled up until the Masters, and then after that we don't know. And so this week I was going to be in Tampa. So the next 4 weeks of professional golf is definitely not going to happen. We just don't know what the future holds.
What happens as far as Augusta is concerned? We already talked about the situation with the grass.
Yeah.
Is there a slot? Would they cancel a slot to put that in regardless?
Well, they've talked about that. The idea, and Jack Nicklaus didn't think that was fair. He said for you to, lean on a PGA event maybe that's been around for decades. That, hey, would you mind not playing if we could get the Masters in there? And he told the Golf Channel he just didn't think that was fair. And obviously he has his own PGA event, the Memorial, which, by the way, is June 4th through the 7th. And there's hope that maybe potentially that could be the return of professional golf, Jack's tournament, the Memorial. Hopefully it'll be before that, but that was the talk. But getting back to the Masters, the other plan was could they play it since the top 30 players are going to be in Atlanta the last week of August for the Tour Championship, could you just play the Masters the next week? Because that is an open week. And, that was tossed out there. I don't know what the final discussion was there. Again, the Ryder Cup is the last week of September, so maybe you could play. There would be a week off after the Ryder Cup, so maybe that would be October. That seems like a possible date. And then the other idea that was being floated around was the PGA Championship. Could you switch? Could the Masters go where the PGA was, May 14th through the 17th, and then you could play the PGA Championship maybe after the Tour Championship, because that was scheduled for San Francisco, and the weather's always pretty much the same. So you could play that any time of year. But, again, that would you'd have to move mountains, and logistically it would be so complicated. I don't know. Again, when Jack Nicklaus says he doesn't see it being played this year, he's hopeful. I tend to lean on Jack because before they made the announcement, Fred Ridley, the chairman of Augusta National, contacted Jack, and they talked about it. So that was all. Jack talked about that on the Golf Channel, and so we'll just have to see. I know we're all heartbroken because it's such a big part of our lives, especially down in the South, but globally. I mean, the fact that the Masters may not happen is significant. There's no doubt.
We're talking with Doug Bell. Doug, I hadn't really thought this through, but the winter sports, I think the NCAA's come out and said they would let everybody have their year back. But how does that work? I mean, if you let all the seniors come back and the juniors stay juniors and the sophomores stay sophomores and the freshmen stay freshmen, you got a freshman class coming in. So it kind of log jams everything. It's almost like, to me, you just got to say, you know what? It just is what it is. We got to move on and move the seniors out of there. As unfair as that sounds, but otherwise you're just going to log jam this thing, and it'll take years to get it right. I mean, what do you do here, Doug?
Boy, Barry, that's talk about complicated. I was talking to one of my son's friends is a college softball player, and she is a junior. and obviously heartbroken that the season has been canceled. At the same time, the news came out that you're talking about, and her particular college team has 6 seniors, which was a lot for softball. But now those young ladies all are now excited, potentially coming back. At the same time, the young lady I was talking to was really hopeful. Her senior year was going to be her big year, and they've also had recruits coming through, weeks ago, and these young ladies were excited. You know how it is. It's all the seniors move on, juniors move up, recruits move in. But now that would you're right. That would seriously complicate things. And I don't know. I know that was a knee-jerk proposal, and now it's kind of moved forward like, well, I think we're going to do this. But like all of these things, amidst this chaotic time, I think they're going to have to go back to the bulletin board or the chalkboard and figure this out, because to me, I don't see it working. That not only very messing things up with more players in the roster than you know what to do with, but again, those spring sports, the scholarships are chopped up in a different way. I don't know how on earth it would work. And to be fair, you couldn't just give it to the seniors, outgoing seniors. You're right. You'd have to give it to everybody an extra year.
Yeah, so then you're sitting there, so a lot of let's say the seniors graduate, all right?
Right.
But they want to play their senior year. Are you going to make them – and in baseball, we only have 11.7 scholarships, so a lot of those guys are paying. So
right.
we're going to make them pay to come back to take classes they already have, or can they just come and play and not pay the money to go to the university? I don't know what you do in that situation.
No, it's a mess. It is a mess. And again, I feel for the athletes who are the spring sports, because we're talking collegiate golfers and baseball players and softball players, and suddenly the season just, instead of saying, hey, we're going to postpone it potentially, we're just going to cancel it. And I thought that was a real knee-jerk reaction as well. But under the circumstances, everybody was just kind of making moves. And maybe they'll come back, although I don't think they're going to play the College World Series in softball or baseball this summer. That's not until June. To me, that's really heartbreaking. I was looking forward to that, and that would give us an opportunity to watch some good television in June too, because we're going to miss out on a lot of stuff leading up to that.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods is going into the 2021 class, I guess, of the enshrined into the World Golf Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
They have about, from people I kept up with, Patrick Harrington, Tom Weiskopf, and Dottie Peppers. There's 10 of them left to be considered, but the full class hadn't been revealed yet. Is there any thoughts on that at all? I'm sure Tiger's going to be one.
Yeah, Tiger's certainly deserving. It's funny, with no sports on television, I was flipping around and the Golf Channel replayed the 97 Masters. That was on Saturday, and I had forgotten. I knew Tiger had won, obviously, by 12 shots, but Tom Kite finished second. He was 600. I'd completely forgotten that, and some of the names in that tournament. And it was really a phenomenal showing for Tiger, 21 years of age, to break the record at Augusta, 18 under par. And he was hitting it 30 yards past everybody, and he completely wiped out Colin Montgomery on Saturday and came back on Sunday. So he's certainly deserving. I'm surprised it's taken this long. But I think he's at the stage now. Again, I think he's at the stage of his career, soon to be 44, that he's very appreciative of all the recognition that he's getting now. And guys, this is the one thing nobody's really talked about. He had backed out of the Players because his back was bulky, and now when golf returns, it'll be a somewhat level playing field. And I think Tiger will potentially be as healthy as he's ever been. So when they resume, maybe at the Memorial or maybe the PGA Championship is the middle of May, but I think when Tiger does return, he's going to be healthy, and that could be a really good thing for him.
Doug, I don't know what else to ask you, man. This is just what is Doug gonna do the rest of this week?
Well, I'm going to play a lot of golf, that's for sure. But like everybody, just on hold and my youngest son is home. He's a football player up at Austin Peay University, and so he's home for this foreseeable future. Spring football has been put on hold, and all of his classes are online, and so he'll be at home, and that'll be fun and interesting at the same time. So, guys, I don't know. I look forward to talking to you every week, and hopefully by next week we'll have more news on professional golf and some of these sports. I don't think so by next week, but we'll see. I will say, Barry and Coach, I so missed Selection Sunday, as you guys did. I mean, that's just something that was part of my life. And the 4 teams, and a lot of people have talked about it, but the 4 teams that I really like, Dayton was having an incredible year, and they were really, really good. I really like Kansas, and I've talked about that on your show. And Kentucky, if Hagens was playing up to his capability, those 3 guards were outstanding. But the best team that I saw all year, and I watched them on television probably 6 or 8 times, was Gonzaga. They had 6 players that averaged double figures and a 7th player who averaged like 9.6 points. So this is that 7 guys that averaged double figures. And in my mind, we'll never know, but in my mind, I thought Gonzaga had the best team in college basketball, and I think they were going to prove that. But, boy, am I going to miss basketball, guys. And I know you guys are, too.
Yeah, it's killer. It's a killer. And they had
You're
the
right.
2017-16 Big Ten championships on. I couldn't even make myself watch
They
it.
had a great thing on Arnold Palmer last night on the Golf Channel. His life, how he started with the umbrellas is his signature look, and how he flew all the flying he did. And, he flew all around the world as well, so it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, my son asked me today, are you going to watch every episode of 30-30 on ESPN, or is it just something you're doing right now? And I said, well, okay, all right, maybe I'll quit doing that. Let's go do.
I watched yesterday on Netflix a deal about Allen Iverson's life. It was all right. Allen Iverson. I forgot how popular he became in basketball and all the stuff that he went through before he even got to Georgetown, being arrested for that fight in the bowling alley and all. So I tried to watch a little bit of that, something a little different. So anyway.
Yeah, no, we're all down and out. And we'll see. Yesterday morning, Golf Channel. The Shell Wonderful World of Golf had Jack Nicklaus against Arnold Palmer in 1994 at Pinehurst #2. And again, that's kind of sad. We're all watching these, but I will say, just like the '97 Masters with Tiger, when you go back and watch a little history, it rekindles the memory bank, and that's kind of fun too. You appreciate things when you go back in time and kind of recapture some of those moments, because we're so caught up in the now and the future. When you go back, you really appreciate. I mean, Tiger Woods in 1997, he hit it 30 yards past everybody, and he made every single putt. It was phenomenal. And so, yeah, talk about a Hall of Famer. Oh my gosh, Tiger probably should have been put in the Hall of Fame a while back, but he certainly is where he belongs. That's for sure.
No doubt. Doug, have a great week, buddy.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Doug.
Stay
Appreciate it.
safe.
Take